Welcome to The Point, a podcast by Apex Benefits and dedicated to employee benefits thought leadership. You can find more episodes for free on iTunes by searching The Point or Apex Benefits. Please rate, review, and subscribe to be the first to know about what we have in store for you. To learn more about Apex Benefits, please visit our website at www.apexbg.com or find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. Let's get to the point together.
All right. Well, we're here with Apex Benefits. We're continuing on our American Pharmacists Month contribution and pharmacy badasses. Hopefully you're not offended by that term, but today we want to focus on the present. So we previously focused on the past and we will be focusing on the future, but today we are focused on the present. And I could not think of two better guests to interview right around Women Pharmacist Day, October 12th, than these two women that I have the honor of interviewing today. The first is Dr. Suzy Soliman, and Suzy is the founder of Pharmacist Moms. Suzy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Erin.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Secondarily, we have Jerrica Dodd, but she's still first in my mind too. She's a pharmacist, entrepreneur, coach, and leader, and she's always been very inspirational to me. She's done a lot for women pharmacists as well. Jerrica, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Erin, and hello, Suzy. It's great to be here with both of you.
Yes, I'm so excited to have both of you with us today. And I really just wanted to have a chat about initiatives around women and pharmacy. So I think we'll start with maybe for our audience with Apex Benefits, who tends to be heads of HR or CFOs or people providing benefits to employees through healthcare. Let's back up. Ladies, you're pharmacists, and I know you get kind of in your own head sometimes, but with our audience, do you have any advice for them as they approach pharmacy this month in particular? How can we honor pharmacists, salute them, but maybe from the employer and the benefit side? Any thoughts there?
I think that one of the biggest things that can be done is to say thank you. I know that we saw when the pandemic started that we would see the healthcare practitioners being appreciated and thanked, and pharmacists may or may not have been included in that, even discounts or what have you to healthcare workers. And I'm not sure that pharmacists, I don't know how people don't consider pharmacists healthcare workers, but nonetheless, that's a different conversation. But I think to simply say thank you, to give recognition, to highlight, to spotlight pharmacists and the work that they do, I think would go a long way to, one, informing the public about pharmacists and what we do. I swear we're the best kept secret until someone has an urgent need. But then also, I think it will go a long way to hear people say thank you.
Suzy?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think thanking everyone for everything they've done. And I just think that more people need to recognize what pharmacists do. I always talk about employers in general regarding women. I think that employers should recognize women who are the majority of party planners in the office. They are the ones planning the baby showers and the bridal showers and the birthday parties. And I think that needs to go into some company evaluations.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, pharmacists are really doing a lot of different things now. We stepped up, we're giving COVID tests, we stepped up, we're doing immunizations now. I mean, you can get a lot knocked out at your pharmacy, but hopefully with a little pre-planning. I know a lot of the major chain pharmacies now have scheduling devices, so you can schedule for your flu shot for your family or for yourself. But back to the basics, just saying thank you and trying to be kind to the pharmacists, because I think they really, to the earlier point, Jerrica, were not always identified as healthcare workers, which is absolutely baffling to me.
Right.
But Suzy, let's start with you. Let's talk about what initiatives you've put together to support, in particular, women pharmacists.
Sure. So for this year, it's actually our third year celebrating this. So initially for the first couple of years, the first year when I was thinking about it, it was really just getting the word out there and letting people become more aware of it, getting it on the National Day calendar. Those were some of the goals. But now that it's the third year, I think one of the biggest endeavors this year was really just coming up with a plan for everyone. This year, more than ever, women have been working their hardest, helping to take care of their families, whether it's their parents or their grandparents or their children, and they're taking on a lot. They're wearing a lot of hats. So this year, more than ever, we decided to do a lot of giveaways. So within our group, we're going to have a bunch of giveaways to all of these moms who, on Women Pharmacist Day, to reward them for all the risks that they're taking as well with COVID this year. It's been a different year. So we're really trying to look at it in a different way. We also have a couple events that we're promoting as well. We have a live webinar we're doing with a few leaders in academia and some national associations. We're announcing some winners for the Women Pharmacists of the Year as well. So we have a full day planned on October 12th, and it's just really exciting. I think this year, again, more than ever, just given all of the things that all women have been facing, and everyone actually in the world, it's been a stressful time. So I'm really looking forward to celebrating finally for this year.
Well, we'll get back to Pharmacist Moms Group here in a second, but Jerrica, I want you to go next. Please share with our audience the initiatives, in particular your magazine, I know is wonderful, that you've been supporting women pharmacists with.
Yes, so my magazine is Pharmacist Magazine, and obviously that's a play on the word pharmacist. And I created that magazine because I wanted to celebrate women pharmacists who were pivoting, who have or are pivoting in their career or building their own business. There are many pharmacists, women entrepreneurs that are out there making changes in their lives. And I wanted it to be an inspiration for other women who are right on the edge of, I want to do something different. I feel like I'm made for more, but who weren't quite sure how to do it. They wanted to see other people who have done it. Oftentimes, when I talk to women pharmacists, they really feel like the rock stars, as you said, are so far away, so unreachable, untouchable. But I wanted people in general, but specifically women pharmacists, to see that not only have I been able to pivot in my career, but also many, many other women have as well and have built successful businesses. So we're preparing to launch our 1-year anniversary edition because it has been a year, and really looking to celebrate the next set of women have as well and have built successful businesses. So we're preparing to launch our 1-year anniversary edition because it has been a year, and really looking to celebrate the next set of women.
Yeah, it's really interesting that there's been a trend as well. I know, Suzy, you mentioned the moms are kind of dropping out. I'm seeing as well some of those folks that are close to retirement are also opting out as well. All right, ladies, you both know I've kind of been on a soapbox several years now about particularly women pharmacists at the helms of organizations. So I'm going to pose to both of you the same question that keeps ruminating in the back of my head now for several years. What can we do to get more women pharmacists at the helms of major organizations? And Jerrica, I'm going to start with you on that one. There could be a lot of different answers to that, but just based upon the conversations that you're having with your mentees, please share.
So one of the things that ends up happening when I start working with the women pharmacists that I work with is, and I say this to everyone, how you do anything is how you do everything. So when people sign up and say, okay, I want to build a business, or I want to, take my career to a different level, one of the things that I think it's really easy to ignore, and you and I definitely vibed around this last year with another project we worked on with regard to mindset. And so while I believe that there are definite glass ceilings and things that are real in the quest for women climbing higher in their achievements and their endeavors. However, I believe that mindset is probably one of the biggest challenges that I see in the women that I work with, because I always say that I think pharmacy trained us in the profession trained us in an interesting way, in that pharmacists are brilliantly insecure. So we're all brilliant, I believe, and I'm obviously biased. Pharmacists are brilliant. However, there's an insecurity, I think, that comes along with how we were trained to be pharmacists, where it's kind of like you speak when you're spoken to, you respond when I ask a question, and by the way, it better be 100% accurate, which brings about this insecurity of I don't want to fail, I don't want to get it wrong, I don't want to mess up. But I think that one of the things that women can do when you're talking about advancing and reaching further in our endeavors is to make sure to do the mindset work, because that's where you start having things like imposter syndrome show up and people feeling like they're a fraud or what have you. And I think that when we do that mindset work, you're able to go after the achievements that you want to make with more confidence, with more gusto, than if you're on the sideline going, well, I don't know, I don't feel like, I'm not sure, and feeling like you're not worthy, not deserving, or that you're some type of imposter.
Suzy?
Okay, you can ask me the question again, because I feel like I agree with everything that was just said.
Yeah.
So maybe add to it, because I'm like completely on board with, pharmacists and the training, and just from my years of experience training pharmacists, and until now, I still take on, pharmacy students. And so I just see that where it's like you respond to the question versus taking on the initiative. I think that there also has to be more of an interest after you graduate. So I think that everyone is interested, and everyone's in an organization in pharmacy school for the most part. You're at least in one. But what happens, and why does that happen, that right when you graduate, you get your job, you're done. You're just like, I'm done. So what can we do? And I think that the other thing is that we have to see leaders like us. I know for myself, even going into administration in academia, I was looking for other women who, became an assistant dean, and then went up for promotion and became an associate dean. And I was looking for specific mentors. So I think that that's also really important. I think that we need to do more of that within our leadership. So as leaders, we need to take on questions. I always encourage everyone to just contact me, and I do my best to get back to each and every person, especially students, who are constantly asking questions like, how do I get here? And or people who are pivoting within their career. So I think that that's also really important for us to give back, because basically the only way is to help one another, within our profession. And I always view pharmacy as such a small group, and we can help to elevate our entire profession by helping one another.
I also think there's a beauty and an elegance in the fact, particularly for moms and women, that pharmacy is very flexible and fluid. Although some of that has gone away, I think, with the influx of the number of schools, graduates, and market saturation. But one of the beauties is, if you need to go part-time, you could potentially go part-time. If you need to go full-time, go full-time. So right. I think there's a lot of opportunities there to be flexible and design your career based upon your family and your life needs, and strike some type of balance there.
Yeah, definitely. I think we know that a third of women pharmacists are working part-time between the ages of 30 and 45. So a lot of them are working part-time to raise their children or to start their families. And there is that flexibility, which a lot of other career paths do not have. And I think that's a benefit. I think the other thing is we need to start speaking positively about our profession, and all the reasons why we went into it, and kind of remember why we went into it. And there are so many opportunities out there that we don't need to get stuck in one. I mean, just the three of us, none of us have been at the same job for 20 years or something. So it's like, there is flexibility. There are other options. You are not stuck in one position ever in this field.
The other thing that I would like to offer is that I think that now is really the time for creativity. We tend to use our analytical brains a whole lot in this profession. And I think sometimes our creativity is a bit stifled. But I agree with Suzy in that there's so many opportunities. And some of those opportunities are ones that I believe that you create, because when you are reminded why you went into the profession, when you think about what can I create with that, what opportunity can I make for myself, given the reasons that I'm very passionate about X, I think that it's a great opportunity to step back and, though it sounds cliche, but really start thinking out of the box. How can I take what it is that I'm passionate about and provide that for patients, for employers, for whoever that, that group is. But I think now is the time to also be creative. In a pandemic, I think that when we come through this pandemic, what we're going to see is that in just the business world, period, the survivors are going to be the people that were creative.
Yeah, that's so true.
This wasn't on the script, but Jerrica, I did want to ask you about the Black Lives Matter movement. I don't know if you feel passionately about that, but I do know a lot of minority communities in the US have really suffered, especially during COVID. What or how has the pharmacy minority community been affected during the pandemic relative to not only entrepreneurship, but career development overall within pharmacy as a profession?
So one of the things that I will err on the side of caution is not to try to speak for a community just because I'm Black. But one of the things that I will say is that I think that in this time of the pandemic, we have definitely had more of an emphasis, in my opinion, placed on the disparities in healthcare. So just it doesn't even matter that I am very well educated. Just because of my race, my outlook with regard to health is not the same as you two ladies, and I think that that's not surprising. I think that that's not new, but I think it's definitely shed a light on that again. That hey, in these United States, people of color, and I'll say specifically Black people, will not have the same health outcomes as their white counterparts. And I think that is very important for us, not only because we are all consumers of health, because we're human, but also as healthcare practitioners. I think it is definitely something that we cannot ignore. I think you have to, as pharmacists and seeing patients from different ethnicities, have to understand that a patient is not a patient is not a patient, and that there are different cultural, different ethnic variables that need to be considered in care. I think it's an opportunity for pharmacists, since we're talking about pharmacists, to bone up on our education and make sure that we know how to best take care of the patients that we are gifted to serve. One of the things that I did when the Black Lives Matter movement resurfaced here recently was I reached out actually to ASCP, and I said, hey, what have you got going on? What can I do? And the next thing I know, I'm leading a committee on racial inequities with regard to health. But I think that there are so many places to get involved. One, the biggest being education, and that if you don't know how to help and serve the patients in front of you that are not from the majority population in this country, then I think as healthcare professionals, we have an onus to find out what we need to do to best serve those patients, all patients, but specifically since we're talking about color.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I did not have that on the list of questions, but I appreciate your response. I know just this morning I was reading as well about rural communities and the fact that more and more hospitals are actually folding during COVID-19, and that's affecting care. Social determinants of healthcare, I think, are so important. If you can't get to a doctor, or it takes you an hour to get to a doctor, the one healthcare professional you can see is the pharmacist, right? So we're always there. We're on the front lines with our patients, and we're the most accessible healthcare professionals. So with that, ladies, let's get back to Women Pharmacist Day, American Pharmacists Month. Suzy, I'm going to go back to you. let's hear a little bit more about what initiatives are going on for your big day, and then how people can discover your group and connect with you.
Sure. So we do have a lot planned. So I would say the best way to find out more is to join our Facebook group. It's Pharmacist Moms Group, or PHMG. You can find us on Facebook. We have a lot of subgroups as well. So we have a hospital subgroup, an independent pharmacist subgroup. We have a mompreneur subgroup. So if you're interested in doing your own thing on the side as well, I mean, I think there are 12 subgroups now. So
oh, wow.
A lot of different areas. We have a lot, like I said, planned for Monday. I'm very excited for the day and to celebrate. You need to visit womenpharmacistday.com. We have selfie cards available. So to get involved, you can post a photo that day, hashtagging Women Pharmacist Day, to make sure that it's included, and it can be found online. So I would say visit our website, womenpharmacistday.com. You can find me on Instagram. Usually I'm on Instagram, so either through the Pharmacist Moms page or just under my name, Dr. Suzy Soliman, or you can find me on LinkedIn if you're a pharmacist. LinkedIn is probably my number one platform that I use lately. I'm on it quite often.
Jerrica, how about you?
Also on this upcoming Monday, on the 12th of October, I will release the next cover for the magazine, and there will start the daily highlight of the women that are in the magazine. I keep it secret from them, so they don't even know who's in the magazine. And so they're all going to probably get acquainted with each other on Sunday night, because on Monday is when I'll start the promo for the magazine. We will definitely be doing lives throughout the remainder of the month, but we'll be doing lives to highlight the current women that are featured, having them share a little bit about their story in hopes to inspire any woman out there that's thinking about doing something different in her pharmacy career. And then we'll also be revisiting some of the women who were featured in the very first issue a year ago to see where they are a year from now. How are they doing? What's going on? What's new for them in their business? So really excited to continue highlighting women pharmacists and the fact that you can build your dream, whatever that is. And the best way to connect, the website for the magazine is Pharmacist, PHARMASIS, mag.com. There is a Facebook page as well as an Instagram account for the magazine. And then for me personally, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, like Suzy. I hang out a lot on LinkedIn. It is like the best professional platform. So LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as Facebook. And then the group that I have for women pharmacists is Women in Pharmacy, What's Next? And it's to inspire and encourage women who are, like I said, in that space of thinking about making a change and doing something different in their career, but not quite there yet. It's a place for them to be inspired and also see, other women that have and are making changes in their career.
Well, with that, Suzy Soliman, Jerrica Dodd, thank you so much for being part of American Pharmacists Month. Our salute here at Apex Benefits to the 310,000 plus pharmacists out there in the US who are rocking it each and every day. Again, I could not think of a better dynamic duo to bring on the present than you two. So thank you so much. I know this is a very busy time of year for both of you, and we really appreciate you being part of our podcast, whatever we're calling it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you for having me.
You can find more episodes for free on iTunes by searching The Point or Apex Benefits. Please rate, review, and subscribe to be the first to know about what we have in store for you. To learn more about Apex Benefits, please visit our website at www.apexbg.com or find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. Let's get to the point together.